Hi, do you know what today's thought? And today I'm going to be talking about as I'm recording this on Friday, the recently signed Israel-Hamas hostage deal. Now, I talked about it last week, and I said I said it was a bad deal. I still believe it's a bad deal. A lot of Israelis believe it's a bad deal, including hostage families, because obviously they don't want what happened to them to happen to some other family. And also, they're going to get back however many hostages, but they're releasing thousands of imprisoned terrorists who are going to go out and who knows how many people they're going to kill. So I think it's, as I said, I think it's a mistake. But the deal has been done. And now the question is, what could happen? What should Israel do going forward? And one problem they're going to have is dealing with Donald Trump, who has also told them that, told the Israelis that the ceasefire, the 60-day ceasefire in Lebanon, that Trump wants it to go on, and he doesn't say anything about whatever Hezbollah does in Lebanon. The Israelis said that the Lebanese army is supposed to come south and keep Hezbollah from coming south of the Litani River, which is about 20 miles north of Israel. And it looks like Trump is saying, well, even if they violate the agreement, then and the Lebanese army does, right now they're being very slow about deploying to the south, and the Israelis said, well, if they don't hold up their end of the bargain, then we're going to stay in Lebanon until they do hold it up. But from what I read, Trump has told Netanyahu no matter, he just says that he wants the ceasefire to continue, and that brings us back to Gaza, where Israel, we're supposed to be an ally, and I was expecting that we would have a change from the Biden administration, that we would back Israel, and any pressure would be on Hamas. That when Trump said hell to pay if there wasn't a hostage deal, that the hostages, well, he didn't say hostage deal, he just said hostages released, which to me means just let them go in return for nothing. But he's endorsing this deal. He's trumpeting it. Trump is, and apparently he put pressure on Netanyahu to accept this deal, even though it's obvious to me he did not want to do that deal, because his goal is to eradicate Hamas and making sure that Israel cannot be threatened, in addition to getting the hostages back. And now it looks like, we'll have to see what happens going forward. But now the question is making lemonade out of lemons, this horrible lemon that Israel has been handed. And that's what I want to suggest, that there might be a way to turn it to their advantage, but it might involve doing the same thing as Netanyahu did with Biden, which is basically to ignore the admonitions of Trump, the same as he was ignoring Biden. For instance, don't go into Rafah. They went into Rafah, and so on and so forth. In every case, this disagreement between Biden and Netanyahu has been proven right. So we'll see what happens. Would Trump, who's been, the Abraham Accords and recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moving the embassy there, he's done a lot of things, but there's a problem with Trump, and this might be, I made a little note to myself that there's a problem with Trump that I'm starting to see that bothers me, and it doesn't just have to do with Israel, but I'm going to talk, if I can remember, I did make a note, I'll talk about it later. But for now, what can Israel do to make this work? Now, one of the problems that Netanyahu is dealing with is that their legislative body, he has the same problem that Mike Johnson has, that the Republicans have in the House. They have only a very 2 or 3 seat majority. I think they can only, because some of them are leaving the Senate, the House, to join the administration. So I think they have only a 1 vote margin right now. And Israel is facing, or Netanyahu is facing almost the same problem. There are 120 members in the Knesset, their legislator equivalent. It's a parliamentary system, so there's only one house. The Knesset is their parliament, and there are 120 seats. You need 61 to form a governing majority, which means cobbling together coalitions and alliances among several parties until you can create a majority. Right now they have 8. They have Netanyahu has an 8-seat majority, but there is one person. There are 2 people actually, Bezalel Smotrich and another one named Itamar Ben-Gvir. They are very conservative. They are solidly against this deal, and one of them has said that if they start doing this deal and it goes forward, as it looks like it is, they both said they would quit the government. Okay, so they would, meaning that they would, they're both ministers right now. I forget what positions they hold, but they will resign from the government, but they will not take their party out of the Knesset, so they would not bring the government down, which is one of the things that Hamas wanted. But they're one of the parties, I think it's Smotrich, but one of them has said that there's three phases to this agreement, and the first one is it's 42 days and 33 hostages. Some of them, we don't know how many are alive, how many are dead, but 33 hostages to be released. They've already released the names. Hamas has, and Israel, so we know who they are, but they are to be released, like trickling out maybe 3 or 4 a day for 42 days or whatever, or over that period until 33 have been released. And then it goes to a second phase where they start negotiating about ending the war. And that is a problem for Netanyahu, because one of these 2 ministers has said that they want an assurance, and obviously Netanyahu could not publicly make this assurance because it would blow up this whole thing, I guess, and they want to get the hostages back, and they don't want to make Trump angry, frankly, apparently. So so he wanted an assurance, and there was a private meeting, Smotrich and Netanyahu, and Smotrich is demanding a commitment from Netanyahu that at the end of the 42-day first phase that the fighting resumes, that they keep going and they go in even harder and continue with their goal of eliminating Hamas and making sure they can never form a threat again. Now, if that does not happen, then Smotrich said that he will leave, that he will then take his party out of the government. He has, I believe, 7 seats. He's the one. One of these 2 ministers has 7. The other one has 8. I think he has 7. So Smotrich could take his 7 seats out, and Netanyahu would still be able to govern. But he would only have a 1, just like we're facing in the House. He would have only a 1-seat majority. Now, if Ben-Gvir takes his, from what I read, he will only take his party out if Smotrich does the same thing. But if he does that, he has 8 seats, so that is 15 between them, and then the government falls. Now, the left-wing parties are promising that we'll come in and we'll form, we'll join the government so that you can have Netanyahu can have a majority. But what will he be able to do? He'll have to rely on, pretty much what we're facing here in the House. That sometimes it takes right now one House member to scotch any kind of legislation, and so you're having Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, having to work with Democrats to get Democratic votes to pass anything, and that's what's going to would happen with Netanyahu. So you think there's a problem. I mean, you see the problem that he's facing. Now, my understanding is that Smotrich is right now not threatening to leave the government. He's not threatening to resign, but he is waiting to see what happens at the end of this 42 period. And my understanding is, from what I read, is that he has under the table gotten an assurance that the fighting will resume after 42 days. So we'll see what happens. But now we get to my idea for making lemonade out of lemons. Now, first of all, this whole idea of giving equal status to Hamas, it's only because they have these hostages. If not, this whole thing would have been over months ago, because the Israelis would go in full force. The problem is they don't want to go into certain areas because they know they have good intelligence that that's where the hostages are. And the Hamas already, they executed 6 hostages when the Israelis were getting close. So you see the problem. So the main goal, now that this deal has been finalized and is going forward, is go through the deal and get all the hostages out. Now, my understanding is that at the end of the second phase, they should all be out. The third phase is just about rebuilding and money coming in and rebuilding Gaza. Now, what I would do is go through the whole thing, but nobody should be able to understand this deal or take it to mean that there cannot be another war, that after the Israeli pulls the troops out and then Hamas can rebuild and start shooting or firing thousands of rockets into Israel again, and the Israelis are just supposed to sit there and let the rockets come in. They obviously would have a right to respond. But then the question is, this was a mistake that they've always made. This is why you had an October 7th, because they're always reacting. They're never proactive. So they just sat there and what they call mowing the lawn. Hamas would do little things and Israel would retaliate, but they would not go in and remove Hamas, and they just left them there. And well, October 7, 2023, we all learned, the whole world learned what happened. Now, are they supposed to expect it to do that again, to sit there and wait for Hamas to rebuild and then attack and then only react? Where is it written that the Israelis cannot be proactive and attack first if they see a threat? And that's my idea for making lemonade out of lemons. This is what Netanyahu should do. As soon as the hostages are all out, because that takes away all of Hamas's leverage, then I would go on TV, I would make a public statement, okay, the war is over, we are out, but you cannot expect us to sit here and let and not react to a threat that we see building before it turns into an attack on Israel. So this is your warning. If we see Hamas, we are going to do whatever, we have the right to do whatever we can to prevent another war. And this is what the world should want, unless if they don't hate Israel, which of course they do, a lot of the world. And we should all, in Gaza too, everybody should want to prevent another war. They should want, at the very least, people are going to be pouring in these billions and billions of dollars, and I hope the United States is not. I don't want my tax dollars going for this. I don't know about you, but to rebuild Gaza and then have it destroyed again by Israel in another war. You don't want that again. So Netanyahu should say, we are going to be watching, and if we see a building threat, if Hamas starts to rebuild, regroup, recruit, build weapons, then we're not going to wait to get attacked. We are going to go in. We are going to prevent any measures against us. We will act first. We will not wait. We will act first. And one of the first things potential threats we have to remove, this is what I would say, is the presence and existence of Hamas in Gaza at all. So I would say, okay, we are out, that war is over, and now to prevent a future attack, Hamas, you have to leave Gaza. You've got 48 hours or a week or whatever time you want to give them, and that's it. And if you're not out, then we're coming in. That's what I would do. And then if Hamas doesn't do it, and I would make that time, like I said, 48 hours, as short as possible, so they don't have time to regroup and bring in more weapons and and prepare for another attack. But while they're as weak as they will be, as they are right now, and will be when this deal goes through, I would say. I would, as soon as possible, I would say, okay, one bullet came into Gaza. One bullet came into Gaza. We are not going to wait for a second bullet. We are going in now. I would when I pulled the troops out, if I were Netanyahu, I would keep them right on the border, right there, and say, if one bullet comes into Gaza, if one fighter is recruited, then that breaks the ceasefire, and we are going in. And that's what I would do, and that's my thought. Happy to hear your thoughts in the comment section below the video. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.